I'm Shane.
I'm Bo.
We are your Kentucky Fried Critics.
Back out on the open seas, guys.
Again, water. You're
Yeah.
right. We have a weird way of doing these things. It's unintentionally.
Nope, it's totally intentional. I'm subliminally like trying to get you to like want to move to the ocean with me so we can do this entire podcast on a boat.
Man, the videos would be wild,
right? Here we are in the middle of a hurricane.
Well, we'd have to buy like
talking about perfect storm.
We'd have to buy one of those like gyroscopic stabilizer things.
Cameras, so it would stay.
Oh, I can't remember the camera name for it. It's a weird one.
Yeah, I can't either.
But yeah, we'd have to get something like that.
That'd be
so
awesome,
that way we could still look steady cam while we're
Chuck
recording.
can drive the boat for us while we're doing it. He'd be happier than fuck.
On the note of doing these things, totally coincidentally though, this time we didn't.
No,
the two boats in a row or close to in a row. That was a coincidence. The fact that we're doing Jaws. Woohoo! Notice, guys, are you proud of me? I didn't do the beforehand. I'm saying it now.
It was within the first 3 minutes. You're golden.
Well,
you're good.
And again, I didn't do the thing where I had to be like, and guys, we're going to talk. I'm pointing out that is what I normally say. But progress is progress. But yeah, so we're doing Jaws.
Better.
Yeah, exactly. Better is better. We're doing this one specifically because we noticed the 50th anniversary is coming up.
Literally like 3 days after this comes out. Five?
Yeah, because it's Friday.
Yeah.
Just like how we just did Friday the 13th, and 5 days later was Friday the 13th. We were doing this one because, again, guys, episodes come out on Sunday, and an anniversary comes on Friday. We have two choices, early or late.
Yep.
We'd kind of like you to be able to listen to it on the anniversary, if that's your thing, right?
Sit down with the same beer and watch the movie and then chill with us.
We wanted you on Friday the 13th to be able to listen to it on Friday the 13th if you wanted to. We're trying to do these things purposefully and not accidentally.
Yeah, because we've done it on accident so many times. We're like, all right, we need to start trying to do it now.
Usually, not even just that we do it that way, we don't notice until after it doesn't matter anymore. You mean like we'll realize the anniversary was close to the episode 3 weeks after
the fact.
Right? Like it's never
shit.
It's so far after the fact that it's not even a cool thing to like mention on social media.
Yeah, it's like, oh well, it's too late now. It's like, oh yeah, remember a month ago when this came out?
You remember 4 episodes ago when we did that movie? It was also that movie's anniversary.
Funnily enough, turns out.
It's cool for us. It's cool that the coincidence is there, right?
So yeah, we're trying to pay more attention to that.
We're trying to be purposeful. That's the word we're using there. Purposeful. We're thinking about
we work
these
with
things.
Intention here at
That's
Kentucky Fried Critics.
We're trying to. We haven't before, but we're trying to make a change. We're trying to do things a little bit different.
Before this was just stupid hobby with excuse to drink beer.
And it still kind of is.
Kind of is, but now it's like, well, maybe we ought to start kind of maybe taking it a little more seriously.
And we're getting more noticed, right?
Yeah,
like
and
our
more
shorts
followers.
have been doing crazy. We're getting more followers. We're getting commenters.
Yeah,
for
we got a
change.
super nice one.
Well, yes. In all fairness, though, we did ask for. I mean, we specifically said, "Hey, buddy,
like, hey, man, what's up?"
We got it. No, I'm not knocking you. I love you seeing too much, being too much. Thank you for giving us the comment. We appreciate it. The feedback, as of right now, the feedback is saying new format stays. We've seen
cool
no
with that.
negatives about it, and so that's just what it's
all
gonna
it
be.
means is we have to drink this beer faster and we get drunker.
Or we just keep it roughly the same pace, and we can then hang out with beer for when we're doing our streams.
That's true. That's
right.
fair, I guess.
There you go. Come on.
Or we could just
that way
buy
we're just
more beer for that.
It's better to be super drunk on a gaming stream
than trying to talk about something.
Yeah. Because that's we'll roll right back into 3 hours. It just won't be doing scene for scene with the movie. It'll just be us so drunk we're shooting the shit and don't know how to wrap it up.
Here's what we do. We do like Gone in 60 seconds, right? And then we go like load up GTA 5 like see how long it takes us to not be able to drive the cars.
We find things to go on theme. I like it. Like we'll have our set like old school games that we do all the time.
We could load up the old Nintendo Jaws, I'm sure.
Well, dude, if we would have been on top of it, then we would have done.
See, this is why we need to be more intentional.
We would have done the Nintendo Friday the 13th if we were on top of this.
Dude, that would have been so fun.
I love that game. It's nothing like Friday. Well, I mean, it's in a camp.
Yeah.
There's a Jason.
And everyone dies.
It's weird, though. It's very strange in how that game works.
You have to have paper and pen for when you go into those cabins.
It's maps
and
knowing which one and like crossing out. I went to this one for this item and it wasn't there. And now I need to find. Yeah, there's a lot of backtracking and weirdness. Don't go out at night. Yeah. That's really the only key thing in that game.
We all watched the Angry Video Game Nerd episode.
We went way off the rails. We told them the movie. We said the anniversary. We started talking about fucking video games.
Hey, it was in relation to the movies we did. I know
that we got there somewhat rationally. It doesn't mean that we weren't far away from our intended
We were like coasting next to it.
But so, Bo, tell them what we're drinking, because it also ties in with this anniversary.
It does, because they put out a special 50th anniversary 1970s style can. Narragansett.
You did
Lager beer. I did.
Proud of you.
Kept wanting to say it wrong.
Yeah, it's very specifically is 1975 limited edition can. So you see
because they're like red now. They're not gold anymore.
Oh, well, it's red and white because they do tall boys. Have you seen? It's like this color white and it's like this red. But you can also get the short cans. I think are green, white, and red.
Ooh, neat.
Remember we saw the 12-pack. Remember it was a solid green. I think the can is like that color green with the red stripe and a little bit of white. I like
the gold. They should just bring that back.
It's nice. It looks good. Looks as cool as it did in the movie, minus the fact that these cans they missed out on what that look. Narragansett, this is great. Well, and what I did find out, this is not the first time they did this.
Oh, cool.
Maybe 5 years, maybe for 45th they did it.
Yeah. So like next big anniversary we'll get it again. Sweet.
Yeah.
Next time, since you do this,
this is why we're talking about this. Since they've done it multiple times.
If no other beer company listens to me at all on this podcast, please, Narragansett, if you've run this anniversary can again, give me the old 1970s pull tab.
Well, look, to me, I don't even need it to be the pull tab, but give me a tab that leaves the pull tab shaped hole.
Yeah, something.
That's what I want. Like, give me that.
I know it'd probably be a pain in the ass.
Give me that skinny teardrop looking hole, right? Like, that's what I want. I know that's not better to drink out of. I get it. Science has determined this is a much better flow
basic logic, bigger hole, easier, right?
Well, and it's not even just the bigger. It's like the curve. You know,
mouth.
They did a lot of research into how.
I remember in the 90s the wide mouth can.
Yeah. Well, again, me and you have literally like never even drank out of
the teardrop.
one? Because like the
we just had the U-shaped one.
Yeah, the one that was literally just a straight even shape with the tab.
Yep.
Right.
Those were way harder to open too. I don't care what anybody said.
But yes, well, yeah. I mean,
there wasn't enough leverage on that little U-shaped thing. You'd end up just popping the tab off half the time.
Before we get off on a tangent about cans, let's get into the movie. Although to start with, I will go on a tangent about cans. So
go for
it. There. One thing I found out about this movie while doing the research is they were, I guess, Spielberg or someone behind the scenes, prop
master.
Somebody was specific on why they decided they were going to use Narragansett for the movie, and it's because at the time it was a beer that was only sold in New England, like up the area they were wanting Amity to be from. So it helped set location, right? Help feel like
locked it in like a real place.
But on top of that, it was they were like. Don't quote me on the first, but it was like one of the first companies to switch from steel cans to aluminum cans,
which makes
the scene where he crushes it
like to
audiences in 75, like to us we were like it just feels. I've never been an age where I thought he was a badass.
Yeah, I was just like I always thought that scene was funny. I was like, yeah, you guys are so fucking tough.
Because at 5 I could have crushed an aluminum can.
Yeah, I could do it on my head.
So it was one of those things where once I found this out, though, it made so much more sense that at the time that would make, what is that, like 80% of Americans who were watching the movie had never seen
an aluminum beer can.
They had only seen a steel can. And so it looked to them like Quint had just crushed a steel can
in
like
his hand.
It was nothing.
He's got this good, strong
and
hands.
Exactly. And so it's one of those things where, like, what we see filmed is exactly what it is. Like, a guy crushes an aluminum can. It's not supposed to be that special. Yeah. Spielberg knew that most people weren't going to know that. The people in New England, though, think about that. Like,
yeah, they were probably
just like
they were like me, like, yeah, and
they were like, why is that supposed to make Quint look bad? What? I don't get it.
Hostile? Make him look hostile?
Yeah,
that's
about all it do.
It's like, okay, he's being
let me crush
dick.
this can while staring.
Wish it was your head,
right? But yeah, the intention there was that most people were just going to be like, no, he's
goddamn, he's got them big, strong hands.
He knows what he's doing. Yeah, he can just.
He's got them Popeye forearms, right? He eats his spinach.
So yeah, it was one of those fun little behind the scene things I found out. Before we get into anything else with the movie, we'll do our normal like we've always done, because we're gonna keep a little bit of structure here.
A little bit.
The middle body will always be us just kind of shooting shit about the movie.
Free form, getting drunk.
But
possibly not even talking about what we're supposed to talk about.
But we will start with the who's in the movie, what and
who
stuff,
did it,
and then we will end with our new segment, which I still didn't think of. I didn't do our homework.
Yeah, I have nothing.
Fun, catchy title. Maybe by the time we drink enough and get there today, we might have one in our heads. We'll see.
Maybe.
I'm not putting pressure on you. Don't do like last time and think you have to come up with it.
Dart. Just keep throwing. Something will stick.
Just because I want it to be good. So literally, if you think of something good before we get there, say it. If not, we will wait. Okay. We will showcase this when we're ready.
I am calm. I am not in hyper panic mode to find up something funny.
There you go. But so yeah, this will be real easy, quick for the who's in the movie.
Yeah, because who the fuck doesn't know these people?
Yeah, well, because again, like most of the movie, only 3 people, right? Like the big first 35-40 minutes, there's other people.
Yeah, they're on the town and in the island, but then once we get on that boat,
once we hit the boat the first time,
3.
After we hit the boat, I again found this out. We very specifically see only those 3 actors and never see land again.
Yep.
Spielberg did that specifically. He wanted them to be cut off from everything, and he wanted us to feel how cut off they were. His exact words were, if people could have seen land in any of even in the distance, they would have said, there's no terror. They can just go back.
Just drive the boat straight up onto the beach.
Right. And so he was like, I made sure that at no point could they see land to really drive home.
Yeah, so they're at least like
how separated,
3-4 miles off the coast.
How separated
out
from everybody. Yeah, that was the full intention there. Yeah. And so he did great. And I think that was a good way to lead into.
Even though when they're filming it, they're like, the beach is like right there.
Yeah.
It
was a great way to lead into, like I was saying, the director.
My favorite person in the world. Okay, no, I liked him here. Like this Spielberg I miss when he like was hungry and he wanted to make good movies and shit. But like it's after like the mid-90s he just kind of gave up and started just throwing his name onto cartoons and shit. It's like, I'm Steven Spielberg, here you go, just that'll make it good.
Bo, I will let you knock a lot of things. I will not let you knock Tiny Toon Adventures
But he didn't actually do anything with it. He just put his name on it.
I bet you if you look into that one, it wouldn't have had money without him.
Fair, but still.
Well, that's sometimes you're allowed to put your name on it if you put enough money that it wouldn't have been made without you, right?
I guess.
I agree with you on look, I'm not even trying to defend the man. I'm defending the cartoon. Don't knock my Tiny Toons. That's all I'm saying. I love Plucky. I love Buster. Look, I agree we need to do that. You were over here trying to bash it. Don't defend it right now.
No, I'm bashing Spielberg.
Well, I'm just saying, you leave their names out of your mouth when you do it.
Damn, shouldn't have mentioned the cartoons.
Well, just not that one, man.
Not that one.
It's got a special play. You played the video game, I
have the video game.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So,
like, if we do the show, we're ready to stream right after. I've got it.
This is what I'm saying, though. That's why you leave. you want to bash anything else he threw his name on? I'm with you. That one's special.
Just after Jurassic Park 2, he just kind of gave up.
Well, I don't know. He's done some after that. But again, I will agree. Most of the stuff he's done, we don't need to get caught up in this. We'll get stuck in this. Yeah. And that's not what we're doing. That's not who we are. Yeah, so we'll move away from Spielberg because we don't want to spend too much time.
Yeah, there's other episodes of me bashing Spielberg.
Well, and for different reasons, and sometimes I get Bo to come around on different movies and come back, and sometimes I don't, and that's fine. I'm not here to try to make Bo like Spielberg. I'm just trying to make sure he understands sometimes the dude
I know.
is needed.
We wouldn't have
even in the just put his name on it capacity, because sometimes we wouldn't have those projects because they wouldn't have got the funding they needed.
Yeah,
I agree that he went overboard and probably put his name on things. Well, but they all do that at a certain point. Tarantino, him, Lucas, they all have taken.
He'll still try occasionally, though. At least Tarantino.
Well, but they all still make movies. What I'm saying though is that Tarantino is guilty of doing the thing you're saying you don't like about Spielberg, which is taking another person's project and just putting his name on it. Tarantino has several that aren't his. Yeah. They just say Tarantino.
I was just in a fucking cameo or something in it, and it's like, man, did you be?
No, again, he produced it. Same thing that Spielberg did.
Who
is in the
movie?
Okay, so we got 3, like I said, who are in the bulk of the movie. That's going to be Richard Dreyfuss in one of his is like his second. It's like this and Close Encounters of the Third. No. That was after this. It was this and American Graffiti.
Also another. It
just done. Lucas is the one who told Spielberg to
about
use Dreyfuss. Yeah.
Aw,
because of that. Because of working.
Go Lucas. I usually don't have good things to say about you either.
But so then, of course, we have Roy Scheider, not
Schreider, Schreier, Schneider.
Yeah,
I've heard
Scheider.
it.
I've heard everything you
variation.
can think under the sun. I've heard it from other celebrities. Again, like places you don't expect them to get it wrong. I've heard it.
Now that we've listed off all the different ways, we probably fucked up somebody. Now they're like, wait, now how do I say it?
No, I've definitely, as many times as we've fucked up other people's names. I'm not trying to come down on people. I'm just saying I've definitely heard it wrong. I'm not saying you're an idiot or anything. I
say it wrong all
I
the
say
time.
Other names. Yeah, I mean, you guys, there is plenty of documented evidence of me massacring people's names. If you want to go listen, just check back any episode where we did a foreign movie. I promise.
I was about to be like, come on, man, those were foreign films.
Doesn't matter.
That's not our fault.
I still attempted when I didn't have to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could have just said, we're not doing this, which would have been rude.
Yeah, I was going to say, is that ruder than messing it up?
Should I have done the research to find out?
Yeah, but the Google phonetic thing lies to you sometimes because, it was made by Western people.
But so, yeah, before we get too far here, Roy Scheider, great guy. Loved him in this. Loved him in Sequest.
I just recently watched the whole series.
Me and Bo are big. Again, we've said this 1,000 times. We're both big sci-fi nerds,
and that's just
sci-fi
it's
like required
underwater
nerd watching.
Yeah.
It's still sci-fi,
but it's underwater instead of in space.
Sci-fi doesn't mean in space. Science fiction can be underwater. You mean it's like Star Trek in the water. That's
there we go.
That was the analogy that would work there. But yeah, because that's what it is. It is 100% just like the Enterprise in
underwater.
The water. Yeah.
I want an HD redub of this thing, but I want them to like go over the ship and make it way better because it's got those like super cheap.
So you want like a redone,
yeah, like nothing else, just like the CGI,
just the CG for the and just for the ship. Like I'll give credit to that show. A lot of it wasn't as bad as you would expect for 95.
Yeah, she was super early 90s. Still looks pretty good, but I'm like, man, imagine what we could make it look like now. Can we get a reboot of Sequest?
Well, technically they did that when it was on. That's right. Like it was Sequest DSV, and then 2032. Right?
Yeah, but
Roy Scheider said, I'm fucking done.
Yeah, I'm done.
I'm surprised.
We got Michael Ironside. That was pretty cool.
It was super cool.
And there's a whole
different tone.
Yeah.
Different tone. Different show. That's what I was saying to you about, like, didn't they already reboot it?
I know, but can we do it again? What's a double reboot called?
You need to, if you're gonna talk to anybody, it's the DeLuises because they love that shit.
I would happily talk to the DeLuises.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Like they were there, they were involved, they left that show and then started all of them producing Stargate. You know what I'm saying? Like
Michael,
if there's somebody,
Peter, my boys, hit me up. We'll get this shit done.
All I gotta say to that is, shoosh. For the people that get it, they'll get it. We're not even gonna say no more about it.
We've already done that movie.
I know
too.
We have.
They better get it.
That's
damn
what I'm saying. For the people that get it, they'll get it. and we don't need whatever.
The real ones, they understand.
Okay. And our last actor. Good segue there.
Nice.
Robert Shaw.
The guy.
Veteran. He was the veteran actor.
Oh yeah,
right? Don't get me wrong. Roy Scheider was still he was probably like in his mid 30s, late 30s, something like that. Right? Yeah, but he still wasn't like what you would say veteran actor.
Yeah, no, Robert Shaw was the marquee name on this one.
Yeah. Even though most people today would know less about him and know more about Dreyfuss, because again, that's just time. That's what time does for you, right? Like you can't help it. Once you get his catalog is not necessarily in everybody's repertoire of movies. Robert Shaw.
This was like his last big one, wasn't it?
Well, it's like the only one that most. Again, I'm not saying like people, but most people of a younger era, like it's really the only one that they might even have heard of for the most part, right? Like.
The drinking got to him after this one, and it was just like...
Well, the drinking was already...
Well, yeah, but he was still able to, like, do the movie. After this, it was like...
Well, like, barely, though, is the thing. Like, he was drinking
It was a good thing he was playing a drunk ship captain, so...
Look, now you say that. Robert Shaw even tried to defend himself on that point, and he tried to do the scene. We want, the Indianapolis, his big scene. It's his scene, right? Like that's the
best scene in the whole fucking movie.
Quint scene, not moment. That's obviously that's the beer,
scene.
But the scene, the full thing where he really that showcases everything. He tried to do that one,
drunk,
plastered.
Oh no!
And
no
it was
way.
Awful.
Yeah,
they couldn't use any. Not even couldn't use a second of it. And it was the only time he felt bad, and he went up to Spielberg like midnight after he had sobered up some from shooting and everything that day, and was like, "You please give me one more chance. I know that I fucked up. I fucked up bad." And then literally after doing that, they gave him the chance. What we saw on camera, one take, with that full story take. That was all one take.
If he could have stopped drinking, he'd have been
phenomenal.
Yeah, he'd have been the best actor of a generation, man.
But he drank behind the scenes notoriously. Like apparently, like everyone hated him because of how drunk he was behind the scenes, and it's just like, God damn, it's rough.
If only he would have just smoked weed.
Died by 51.
Jeez,
did you know that? It was like 4 years after this movie, and he was 51. Now I don't even just say that to be like he was young. I say that to point out. He was 47. That dude looked... He looked
in
old.
his 50s.
He looked in rough shape.
Jeez.
Cirrhosis is a hell of a thing.
God
as
damn.
We drink our beer for our
We
podcast.
don't drink like that, though.
No, this man asked for 2 cases of brandy.
Of the what was it? Apricot
brandy. He said, "I'm gonna need." Well, in all fairness, he didn't ask for 2. He asked for 1.
And
Brody just said, "I'll give you 2,
and I'll buy you dinner on when you get home."
Well, because he said lunch. He's like, and lunch is on you. He said, "Fuck that, I'll buy you dinner."
As long as we kill this fucking shark, right?
But yeah. So again, we don't need to say much. There's not a lot of other people that are big. ? In this movie, you know what I'm saying? Like,
there's not even any of those.
Even if there were other like really big people, like. They're not in because we've made a point to say this, unless it's like a real cool pop-in cameo, it's still not even, there aren't those in this. Even if there is another big person, their character is literally just not that important.
The wife comes back in the 4th one, doesn't she?
I don't know, but even then we can talk about that then. For this one, not at all.
No.
I do know, I guess if we're gonna be fair to fair here, I will at least bring one more thing up. Give me 1 second. Yeah, find it in my notes here. So the mayor, do you remember his name?
Larry Vaughn.
Yeah, because the way Dreyfuss said Vaughn.
Yeah.
Voin?
Mr. Voin?
It was
Voin?
The way Dreyfuss choked on that word was so weird to me. But yeah,
you threw him off.
Murray Hamilton is the guy who played the mayor, and he apparently was someone that Spielberg, like if you were to ask Spielberg, like the veteran actor on set, it was that guy. It was someone that Spielberg just really liked, and that's like he specifically wanted him to be the mayor, which is nuts because the mayor plays so little part in this, right? Like, don't get me wrong, his impact on the story.
I know, but like
huge.
Each scene he's in, his lines are basically the same.
Yeah, well, again, that's what I'm saying. Like, his impact on the story, huge.
Yeah.
Him in the story,
not very
tiny, insignificant, right? Like, the things that happen because of what he says, massively important.
Yeah. But the way the scenes go, he just rehashes what he says each time, just a different way. The scene when you see him
is never. I guess
the last one where he finally
when he's
signs
dramatic
off.
And like freaking out and like
my kids were in the water too.
But even that I don't think played that great.
No,
because he's supposed to be PTSD at that moment, and I don't feel it. He feels more like uncaring than he did like in shock. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. But it
seemed like a politician desperately trying to think of a way to cover his ass.
But so again, I just wanted to point it out because I had read that that's one of those people like Spielberg did consider him one of the people.
Maybe he'll pop up again throughout the show.
So.
And we'll be like, yo, it's the mayor from Jaws.
I love that we can learn things that way.
Well, except for like Jaws 2.
And that's why we can't deep dive all the time. Because if we deep dive all the time, we'll find some of those things out too soon.
Yeah.
It's fun to come back to them and be like shocked and amazed and be like, holy crap, we did see that
It's
person.
That guy. What's up, that guy?
But yeah, so the rest of the people in the movie, not really
random townspeople.
Yeah, a lot of it. Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like, it is totally like that. One cool behind the scenes thing that I did read about that I want to mention, and it's one of those like behind the scenes. Like I didn't learn about it through research. This is one of those like it was in like it's been in like crazy like factoid books that I've read, because you know me, like I love to read those type things. Like, well, I like Uncle John Reader,
101 crazy behind the scenes movie facts.
So I've been reading this one forever, right? But it's really cool. So the actress who played Mrs. Kittner, the mom of the kid,
slaps
the
the
second
shit out of Brody.
Well, I love that you said. So I got two things to say about this lady, but let me say my first one before I get to the one that Bo just reminded me of. So that lady, she apparently one day walked into a restaurant, right? Totally coincidentally, when she got in there, she saw on the menu. It was like it was on the beach. It was on the coast in New England somewhere, and it was like a theme kitschy type restaurant. And when she saw on the menu, one of the things was like the Alex Kittner sandwich. Right, and so she was just like laughing to herself, and she told the waitress who was taking. She was like, "I don't want this sandwich. I just wanted to tell you, like, it's so funny.
I'm Mrs. Kittner.
I was his mother in that movie." The waitress then disappears. 5 minutes later, the guy who played Alex Kittner was the owner of the restaurant. Yo. First time they saw each other since filming the movie.
Aw, see,
she
found her son.
That's so cute, so cool. This is one of those, like, I don't know the validity of this.
I hope it's true.
But I've read it in so many books. Exactly. I've read it so many times in my life.
If somebody tries to tell me it's not true, I refuse to believe them, because that's too awesome.
If someone says that to me, I'll just cite the 100 books.
Yeah, just like, here we go. I have sources. Where are yours?
You argue with these people, not me.
Yeah, not me. These are the real Hollywood historians.
Yes. Now on to the secondary part, and this one is documented. This is a well documented from both sources, where you said about the smack in the face.
The shit out of him.
She really did.
That's what I thought, because she like it's a pop.
Roy Scheider went down on record, and that woman on record about this. Roy Scheider said, again, she wasn't well trained in certain types of acting, and one of the things she was not well trained in is how to do the theater slap. So it looks real, but it's not real.
You gotta paintbrush them.
She did not know how to do it, and so 17 takes. He
knew. My
he
God.
remembered. He said it. He's gone down in record of being having said it was one of the worst experiences he ever had on set.
Fuck these slap fight guys. Fucking Roy Scheider, the fucking champ.
17 real slaps to the face, just that hard. And the woman who played Mrs. Kittner, her on the record proof that this is definitely true statement about it is that in one take she slapped him so hard his glasses flew off, but they didn't keep that one.
I would have. That's the take I take. I just have full.
Well,
boom.
They probably didn't fly off like good. You mean like we think like
half
full
off,
fly,
and there's like dangling in his mouth,
because that's what happens in the real world. Like if you don't set it up for a movie, it's usually not going to. you used to wear glasses. You know, like when they're on your head, they're actually amazingly.
The last fight I got
head.
in is the reason I don't wear glasses.
But you know what I'm saying though, like they are amazingly on your head. They don't really fly off the way movies tend to show it too often. I'm not saying it never happens, but it's definitely not. It's not as common as a movie would make you.
If I was gonna do it and I needed them to fly off, I'd have the string on
breakaway glass.
And somebody just like
yank it off. Yeah. Well, and in the 70s that would have worked too. Like today, 4K cameras, it's a little hard. Like you'd have to have such thin cable,
and then you'd still have to go back over and like each frame paint it out digitally too.
All right. On that note, we've talked about every actor. We've already talked about some of the random funny things in the movie. Let's get into some more of the movie itself, because this is a movie. This is one of those like huge movies.
Yeah,
right?
This is like any movie fan's top 10.
Well, it's the first summer blockbuster.
Yep, this is what started that whole thing.
The concept before this movie came out, there was no such thing. Summer movies were crap movies. They were the movies that everybody was on vacation and doing stuff outside and the great outdoors.
So the summer was like, this is where we put out the like 8 alien invasion movies.
This is the first time where there was a movie and they took a risk. Because think about it, like this is technically a movie that you would not expect your vacation goers to want to see.
Right, because it would kind of ruin.
It
might ruin going to the beach, right?
But it totally had the opposite effect. The people who were on vacation loved it because it kind of gave them a thrill to be like, we're on the beach. And
like to be scared for some reason.
So it totally worked, and it worked like gangbusters. It worked like gangbusters, and I would have to say, thankfully. Because Spielberg, well, I don't know. Thankfully for the rest of us, and maybe Bo wishes not.
I just wish he wasn't the way he was now.
I know. I'm allowed to make the jokes, though, Bo. Come on. But again, we can both agree E.T. came after this, and we want that one. Right?
Yeah,
like, I mean, we
true.
can't.
My sister might not want that one.
Yeah, but I mean, we can. Yeah. I'm not worried about it.
Mac and Me is better.
Not at all.
I am totally kidding. That was not true.
I'm still allowed to poke fun at it. But yeah, so Spielberg though took a massive risk on this because the budget was insane for a movie that again was technically supposed to be the summer like filler movie.
Like just kind of put something out there just in case.
They spent $750,000 on the sharks. Fuck everything else in this movie. 1970s money. That's
a
nuts,
fuck ton of money.
That's a gamble and a half.
We got $3 million shark prop now.
There were 3 sharks, roughly $250,000 each. One was a half on the right, one was a half on the left, and one was a full scale one. Yeah. And they found out. So this is one of those things. They found out they weren't really graded to work in salt water. They tested it. No, again, this is one of those movies where there are so many like behind the scenes things that have gotten twisted over history.
Yeah.
People like to say that they didn't test. Like that's one of those like everybody likes to be like they didn't test the sharks. That's why that happened.
Oh, they did.
But they tested it in tanks at Universal Studios,
which were not salt
water. And when they got into the salt water,
does other things because it conducts electricity differently.
Well, and it erodes things differently than
salt
regular
water's
water.
just
it's all around
bad
a problem
for electronics.
And so like there were lots of scenes that were going to be in the movie, lots of scenes that were going to be different than they were in the movie because the shark didn't cooperate. The mechanical shark.
Makes sense.
And so that is one of those things where sometimes even when you like best laid plans, you know what I'm saying? Like this man spent massive money on some sharks and they still
didn't fucking work.
Well, and the funny thing is, though, again, that's probably what worked in his favor.
Yeah, I know, right?
This movie works
like the
on
movie
the fact
gods
that
were like, no, it has to not work right.
This movie works on the fact that we didn't see the shark as much, right? That we only seen it fleetingly.
Yeah, just the
moving
fin
so much
or something.
If the robots had worked, his plan would have been that we would have seen so much more of them, and I don't think it would have played as well.
No, it totally wouldn't have. This starts the whole, like, don't show your monster rule in movies.
We got 35, 40 minutes in before we ever even get out on the water.
Yeah.
To
and then
possibly actually, like, all...
And then it's like a full 10 minutes after that before we even see the shark.
Like, before we're on the water, the closest we even ever get is one fin, right? One fin. We see the damage it did. We see when it pulled the fucking, the dock down, which is...
I love that scene with the two dipshits. It's my wife's roast.
Those two are so dumb. And
Swim, Charlie.
If one of them would have died, I would have been fine with it.
Yeah, they would have deserved it.
They deserved it more than some of the other people we saw. More than
the boat guy,
the sailing
instructor
trying
to be like, no, help Michael with his boat and shit.
Well,
you
see
the
their
shark
instructor again. I only know that one because of IMDb. I don't think we ever see a scene to let us know that he was supposed to be the one who had been teaching Michael to sail that boat. That's why
I thought he was just like nosy guy being like, no, kids, you're doing it wrong. You gotta do this.
He's their instructor.
Poor bastard.
But yeah, like 100%.
You see an underwater view of the shark because they go like over it and it's kind of like underneath and grabs his leg. But
but again, you can't.
You still
can't. It doesn't give you an idea of size yet. It doesn't give you an idea. You're like, we don't get that until way later. Yeah.
When it comes up out of the water, man, and like when he's chumming the shit in, and it comes up and like bites at him and stuff, then you're like, holy fuck.
Well, listen, the way the movie does this is so great though, because as an audience, again, we come from an era now where if you're too young, you've seen Shark Week 100 times before you ever watched this movie. But from an era of people who, unless you were like Brody and went to the fucking library and got an encyclopedia,
a bunch of books,
you wouldn't really have any idea, right? To then see, when you see the tiger shark, you're like, God damn,
that's
that
a
thing's
big fucking
and
shark.
Then the transition from that to the even big, like the great white.
And what's great is like we have those. Those are real, like 25-foot great whites exist in nature. 100%. When I was a kid, I thought this was just like super monster mutant fucking shark, but now I'm like, no, it's just a great white shark.
Those are the later Jaws.
Yeah,
those the later Jaws movies start to deal with the fantastical crazy, right? 3D is a robot.
Yeah, 3D is a robot.
Sorry.
Cruel Jaws. We gotta do the Italian one.
Again, we'll get to all of this at some point because these are well worth it.
Yeah,
because those are our favorite type of movies where it's so silly and just like ridiculous. And most people might be like, "That's a bad movie." I'm gonna be like, "That's a fun movie."
We're gonna stab the shark with the front of the boat.
Yeah, and so we'll save those for when we get to them. We might even be able to lump the way we're doing things now. We can lump some of the crazier ones. We can be like, "These are the crazy Jaws."
We can do 3 and 4 together.
Yeah, something like that. But for this one, what's crazy is this one is supposed to be grounded.
Yeah, this could actually happen.
But there are some scenes that are totally not grounded. Not even in a way, like our final moment where it's just like that takes you out, but just like ungrounded. To the point that Mythbusters has done episodes about like how crazy it is. But the reason I bring that up is because the one that I totally thought was not believable was true. Like of all the things, which is the fact that you see the shark bust the cage, like the
shark cage.
The one it was the first hit.
Yeah,
right?
just
the very
first one, just boom, and just busts right in.
That is happen. That can happen. A shark can do that.
That's because that's a real shark. They went and paid divers to go and like film actual sharks
stuff for that
like,
scene. Yeah,
if you really look, because you rented the 4K version, and shit, you can really tell in that one of like that shark is not nearly big enough.
It's not big. Yeah, no.
It's only like 15 foot.
Well,
maybe.
And it is a tiger shark.
Yeah, also
to
true.
Throw back to the original. Yeah,
but it is wrecking this fucking anti-shark cage.
Or maybe it is a great. I can't remember.
It's just not. It's not a 20-foot, 25-foot one by any means, but it is wrecking the shit out of this cage. And I'm over here. I'm like, I watched Shark Week. I watched remember Will Ferrell and shit.
No, so many people.
Yeah, like
I love the Try Guys. One of the first things they did was all go down in a shark fucking cage together.
And I'm like, wait, that was a real shark. That didn't do shit.
Well, here's a piece for you. A lot of those, and possibly the one where we see that it... Now, again, the Mythbusters proved it can happen, period. But what we saw, in all fairness, because they couldn't get that size of a shark, was a sized down cage and therefore may not have been able to handle
probably
the same.
A little cheap on the welds too, so
Because
give it a little more, but still.
So they needed. This is good. So, but like we talked about before recording, I told you like Richard Dreyfuss was supposed to die. Hooper was gonna die.
Yeah.
In the book, he died.
In the script, he died.
He was gonna die. But then they filmed this, and they couldn't do it. Part of the reason they couldn't go ahead and have the death, they couldn't get the shark to rip the mannequin up, right? Well, in filming these scenes, they also needed to have somewhere it looked like a real person was in there, right?
Yeah.
But they had a shark that was smaller, and so they needed, like I said, to size up. They got a little person
to be in the cage.
Yes.
That's so awesome.
Well, then when the shark but then when the shark actually fucked the cage up like that, the little person, they were going to do some more scenes again where like Hooper was still in the thing, and the little person said, "Fuck you, I'm not
getting back in that goddamn cage.
I'm done." Did you see what it just did?
If you watch the footage, it almost got him a couple times.
And so like that
poor little bastard's fighting for his life, probably only made like $300.
Between that happening and them not being able to get the shark to attack the mannequin, Spielberg was just forced into the moment of him being like, well, fuck it, I guess Hooper lives.
Yep, we're just going to film him going hiding
under the thing.
The rock.
Well, that actually was inspired by the little person. When that all happened,
he actually did that?
He ran to flee and hide. Well, maybe not that way, but that is like, and so they were inspired.
Hell
to be like,
he was
so
like, fuck this movie. I'm out of here. Sorry, little guy.
Well, I mean,
you got balls of steel just doing it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. It was crazy.
I would have told him, fuck you. I'm not getting in that cage. You're going to do what now?
The other things that they left out of the script, though, unlike that one's fun and interesting and exciting. The other ones that were left out, I feel like it's probably good they left them out. One of them you can feel in the movie. Like, I think it almost makes the scene that they did record make more sense. But I'm glad that they didn't elaborate on it.
Would have added 30 minutes to the movie.
It would have too much. And I'm sure for a book... Well, no, even the book you might have thought
the
was
book probably would have been like made it too long.
Danced around it. We should tell what it is. So the mafia was supposed to be involved in the book,
which makes the mayor's behavior make a little
on the
more,
ferry.
Yeah,
when they're on the ferry,
he rolls up and he's with all his boys and he's like, "Look, that girl wasn't attacked by a shark. It was a boat propeller."
We all know this. It happens to tourists all the time.
Even the medical examiner is like, yeah, that could be. We're gonna have to change our reports.
So I feel like knowing
would have made way more sense.
Yeah, knowing that there was originally a mafia connection makes that scene make sense because it felt weird.
Give me one scene. Give like something.
You know what I'm saying?
His assistant being like, Big Tony's not gonna like this,
right?
Because something.
It feels
hint at it a little more.
Seeing the ferry scene without knowing the mafia, it feels jilted, right? Like you're just like, so the chief, the sheriff, whatever his chief of police is supposed to be intimidated by the mayor and a bunch of business owners,
I guess.
Right? But thinking that they all know that there's a mafia connection.
They're all bigger than him. They are out on this boat.
He's armed.
Like, accidents can happen.
He's armed. Whatever. He's got it. But again, knowing that they might be mafia connected makes it all make more sense.
It does.
Right? Like, it makes that scene play better.
And it makes his blatant refusal to shut down the beach make more sense until his kids get almost eaten.
Exactly. All of that makes so much more sense.
2 lines of dialogue would have made that all make way more sense. And I'd have been more sympathetic toward the mayor.
Now, the last one would make you not sympathetic for anybody and definitely had no reason to be in the book. And I'm glad they left it out of the movie.
Yeah.
And that was that in the book, Hooper
and Mrs. Brody are supposed to
shack it up. Yeah.
Why?
Totally cheats on her husband.
For what?
And then they go out in the water together.
Yeah. I
guess to add more tension. But I thought the beauty of the water scenes were that we're seeing the camaraderie.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're seeing these people who weren't friends become friends. And
especially Quint and Hooper, which takes forever. And they hate each other at first.
I feel like if we had the other scene, I would have just been like, them two would never have gotten along quickly, stuck on the water. I'd be more likely thinking...
waiting for this to turn into a murder movie.
Yeah, a whodunnit.
Throws fucking Brody off the boat.
But so yeah, I felt like that one was correct.
Yes.
They made the right call there. The Mafia,
as much as I like books to movies and I like the movie
to be as
like
close
the book,
as possible, sometimes
you got to get rid of shit.
Sometimes maybe the dude who wrote the book
was fucking
was
wrong.
trying to cash in for
something.
just
you got to have something in there for the ladies.
I think
right?
I read that they had to throw him off set. He was
the writer?
Yeah, he was so upset that they weren't including those scenes and that
really with Richard Dreyfuss as Hooper?
Also because they changed the ending. The way the shark was killed, I think, was different in the book. It was certainly not an explosion.
Oh,
in the mouth
whatever
of the
it was
tank.
in the book can't be as badass as blowing up the tank.
Whatever was in the book was more realistic, and so like that's what the dude said to Spielberg. And Spielberg said, "Listen, I told this story across 2 hours, and the first hour and a half was so good and believable for real shit. They won't care what I say in the end."
Right.
That's what he said. And I'm like, he's right though.
Yeah, he is. He's completely
You got
right.
to the end and you told me we just blew that thing into 1,000 pieces. I said, that happens.
I told you A and B were totally true. You have no reason to suspect that C is a lie.
Whatever. I believe that 100,000
Right?
pieces of shark flew in the air and landed. That
Fucking
scene is so funny.
Mythbusters ruins it with their little test where it's like, no, it wouldn't blow up.
Yeah,
Like, fuck
look,
you.
The scene is so crazy with Brody just sitting in the water, and there are literally still pieces hitting
falling
the water.
the
I
water.
was like, stop.
So
right
now. Like just filming wise, there's just a guy off camera just chucking bits.
He's got one of those chum
buckets. And he's just chucking it into the air.
100%. He's just chucking with the chum buckets, dude.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where, Spielberg made some good calls. Spielberg made some weird calls. You can't blame the man.
Yeah.
Again, like both said, this is when he was still trying. He was not
Steven Spielberg at this
was
point.
a guy that had to prove himself
Yeah.
at this point. And so like he was really going out on a limb a few times on what he was doing. That being said, apparently a lot of people on set didn't like him.
Aw, really?
Blamed him for. So this was originally going to be a short film, not like in how length, like in
like
filming
an actual
time.
Oh,
filming
like
time.
15, 20 minutes.
No, filming time.
Oh, okay.
Recording time. Like making
yeah.
the movie was only supposed to be a short amount of time. It was like 55 days. They went 100 and something days.
Ooh, yeah, I'd be a little pissed.
People hated him on set. And so, notoriously, the last thing filmed is exactly the scene we were talking about. The
big boom.
Everything blow up, Quint gone, whatever. We're dealing with all the... We'll get back to that in a second. Yeah. But yeah, the explosion, right? Spielberg left. Spielberg was not there when they recorded that. Because he found out that all of the people were going to fucking mutiny on the like they were going to do something. They were all pissed off. And they were going to
fucking blanket party him.
Something.
Get him
dude,
with
like
the soap
tar
and the sock.
feather him, dude. Like they were going to do something.
Throw his ass off the boat.
He caught wind of it, and so he fucking left. He bolted.
You pussy.
He had 4 cameras pointed on the explosion. And he was gone.
And I'm gone.
Dreyfuss and him supposedly, this is one of those we can't verify, but supposedly the story goes they were on the plane together, and that Dreyfuss just like halfway through the flight randomly turns to look at him and is like, "So how'd the last shot go?"
No idea.
No. He says they're recording it right now.
Bomb should be going off now.
Oh man, it's one of those things where it's just like that's
he's got a little countdown
dude.
timer.
Oh man, dude, it'd be priceless, right?
Beep 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 beep. Yeah, it just blew up. We're good. Movie's done.
But so yeah, the no surprise here, despite the fact there are multiple sequels, the movie does end with the shark dying,
blown in half,
in pieces.
Blows in half and just sinks to the bottom.
But he does in the process take out our man Quint.
Yeah, goes out like a fucking badass though. He's stabbing it with his machete. Yeah.
Quint was in the book just drowned by the shark.
Aw,
just pulled under.
That's weak.
Spielberg is the one, and this might have been one of those scenes that the author of the book didn't like, right? Because this is maybe a little bit over the top when Quint gets chomped down through the boat.
It's so awesome though. It comes on the boat.
It comes on the boat.
How can you not like it?
It's the reason Roy Scheider wanted to do the movie. He overheard Spielberg say that to someone else, and he was like, "That sounds like my kind of movie."
I'd have done it.
But yeah, so like Quint in the book just got pulled under and drowned. Spielberg was the one that was like, how are we gonna have this fucking story about the Indianapolis and surviving
he's such a
the sharks?
badass. I'm never wearing a life jacket again.
He said, like, I get there's almost a poeticness of drowning after hearing that about the life jacket.
Yeah,
but if you're gonna say he drowned because he was pulled down because it was supposed to be like a rope wrapped around him that was attached to a shark, right?
Yeah.
So the life jacket wouldn't have mattered.
No,
so it's like it's not poetic then anymore, right? Like,
but him coming out when the boat's
him getting
sinking,
killed by a shark after he survived a ton of
shark attacks. Yep,
that brings that poetic back, right? And Spielberg knew it, and again, it's better.
And
visually.
he did all
it's better visually.
And he did
than
all
just a dude, just like
the
you see a dude, then
and
he's
the
under
screaming
the water.
all he could, and he did do it.
Oh well,
good.
And the speech that he gives, like his whole Indianapolis, like that is like, it's good.
It's my favorite scene in the whole.
It's
movie.
a great scene, dude. It's the best scene in the movie for sure.
Easily.
Because again, like there's so much going on. The camaraderie gets to a full head. They're doing the battle.
We're like, I got this from a thresher. The bull shark got me.
You can literally see the moment where like Quint respects Hopper. Like it's not the first one or the second one, but somewhere in the middle, as he's seeing them, he just kind of like, you see it. He shits.
Right.
He's like, this guy's all right by me.
You want a drink? You want a drink to your leg? We'll drink to our legs.
I want to ask you this because I saw it happening, but I didn't understand what the fuck we were supposed to be seeing. The part where Brody looks down, like they're showing their war wounds.
Oh, yeah, and he looks at his and he just kind of...
Do you know what that was?
Did he get shot? Or is it just like he had appendicitis?
It's an appendectomy.
That's what I was like, it's one of two things.
And it's real. It's a real... That is
perfect.
That's Roy Scheider's actual appendectomy scar.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was like, it's one of two things. Either he's like, I got shot when I lived in New York and I don't want to talk about it. Or
nope.
It's
the only scar I have is from a medical procedure.
And I don't want to look like a pussy.
Now, in all fairness, though, he did almost drown as a 5-year-old or whatever the fuck.
Or whatever the reason why he doesn't like the water.
The backstory they almost tell us, but they don't really tell us.
Yeah, because his wife is like, you don't like the water. There's a medical term for it. And he's just like, drowning.
Dude, the way he drowning.
Well, he was already half drunk by the time Hooper showed up with the wine.
And then he pours himself it's a beer glass. Yeah. It is straight up like our size beer. It has ice
in it. And he just fills it
to the top. And the wife's like, "You okay?" And he's just like,
"Yeah, I'm good."
Oh yeah. He looked at it like, "Oh, that was on purpose."
Yeah, I totally meant to do this. I'm having a really bad day.
And then he doubled down,
noticed.
right? Though he doubled down. He's like, "Yeah, that was on purpose." He doubled down. He said, "I'm gonna prove it was on purpose."
It's like how he poured everybody else the proper amount. He gave him the 2 fingers. You know?
He said he looked and he was like, "Click, click."
And the rest of the bottle for me.
Dude, again, Roy Scheider did great. I will say
this wouldn't have been the same movie without him.
No.
And I know it wouldn't have been a good movie. With who was it? You told me
Robert Duvall.
Yeah, Robert Duvall was supposed to be.
It still would have been good.
It would have been good.
I love Robert Duvall.
I do too. He would have had to have shaved the mustache.
No, the mustache would not have worked.
Yeah, it would have had to have gone.
Spielberg wanted him for. I didn't finish telling you. I'm glad that you brought this up because I didn't even finish telling you this. So this is good for on camera. So yes, I told you Spielberg had apparently, I guess, friends. I don't know the full context here, but he was just speaking to Robert Duvall before really taking it. Some other director was on. And they didn't go with him, and Spielberg was so like, I don't know if I want to do this.
That guy regrets that.
No, wait, I can tell you that it was in my research. I love that you keep doing this. It keeps helping us go to the next spot. But
I'm good at my job.
It is good. You're doing it. But yeah, Robert Duvall though was 100% like, Steven, you have to do this movie, and Steven wanted him to be Brody. Duvall didn't want it. I told you that part. Duvall was like, I'll be too famous.
Yeah.
Duvall didn't want to be that kind of famous, and he said,
I'll distract from the story.
Duvall wanted to be Quint.
Oh.
Spielberg said,
no,
you're too young.
Yeah.
In 75,
yeah.
Said, I need an old grizzled man of the sea.
Yeah, he was what, like 36?
Yeah, well, he was fucking Roy Scheider's age.
He was the same age.
He's like,
that's not gonna work, man. Like, dude, you can't do the Indianapolis speech. Nobody's gonna buy it. What were you, 10?
Yeah, he's like, dude, I can't.
I stowed away. I just hid in the cargo hold.
And he's like, I cannot in good conscience.
Imagine how surprised all those sailors were when this 10-year-old popped up amongst them in the water. Like, what the fuck are you doing here, kid?
So again, I don't remember who the first director was. To go back to this, since you brought this up before I forget, because you are gonna love this. This is because it's funny. This is so crazy, and people will have to look up who it was. I'm sure you can find it. It was easy. It was just randomly in my research, so I'm sure if you look for it, you can find it, right? But it was some other guy, and he was like, it was essentially like the pitch meeting for what his vision of like just initial storyboards. It wasn't even like actual storyboards. Like he's just like pitching the idea of the storyboards to them, right? To be like, this is my vision,
what I want to do,
right? And so he's just talking about the opening. He's like, yeah, and so like I want to have the camera actually in the water, and the first scene we see of Amity is coming up out of the water. That sounds dope, right?
It does. That sounds like a good shot.
His next words out of his mouth, supposedly, according to all these sources, was that he was like, and then the next thing we see is the whale rising up out of the water. And no, that's it. That's exactly what when you look it up, that's literally like the way it's written in most facts is like ... And that's when everybody in the room
kind of looked at each other like,
was like, if this man doesn't know the difference between a whale and a shark, then I fucking don't need him directing my movie.
He just wanted to do the orca movie.
It's because the orca was in it. But yeah, so exactly though, like everybody that like all the producers and shit in the room, when they heard the man say that, where they were just like, if he doesn't know the difference between a whale and a shark, I don't want him to make my movie.
And then you see the whale come out of the water.
That's it, dude. Can you imagine like how early on? Again, I don't know if there were other people between him and Spielberg, but that's the reason Spielberg was not the first director.
Yeah.
They had a guy, and in the pitch meeting, he
didn't know what a shark was.
And then the whale rises up.
I was like, oh man, that very first shot sounded so
you
good.
Sounded like you had it with the rise up
under
out of the water,
and you got the music
like
in the
background,
sharks
like
swimming,
looming in on it. Okay, that gives me,
started off good.
That gives me a good, I think, lead into one more cool fact type-ish thing, and then we should do we're probably ready to do our new segment, our what takes you out of the movie. So the last thing on this like level of he could have had a dope one where the shark looks vengefully at the city right away. Everybody involved with the making of this movie and the book all horribly regret it, because after again, we have Shark Week now.
Yeah,
we all know sharks don't actually attack people.
Yeah.
They are not vengeful animals.
They
generally leave people alone.
They generally don't chase the relative of somebody they've already eaten.
Yeah, that's that vengeful thing. They're not specifically hunting you down.
We're gonna go chase Mrs. Brody all the way to Florida.
No shark vendettas going on here, right? And so after this movie came out, literally like the summer after, or that summer maybe, there were so many cases of people getting hurt from people claiming sharks were on beaches, and then the trampling of people when they left the waters. There was a case in New Jersey where an entire fucking town slaughtered this baby whale that got beached because they thought it was a shark.
God.
Beat it to death.
I would feel bad too.
And so the guy who wrote the book felt so bad that in his later life became a shark conservationist.
Conservationist, yeah.
Conservator. I was going to say conservator, which is the right word, but I started to say both at the same time there. But yeah, like he felt that bad. He was just like, knowing what I know now,
I wish I hadn't made the shark the villain.
Well, he said, I wish I hadn't made it. And he's like, and if I would never make it. He's like, if I had known that, I would never have made it. He's like, because again, like, it's one thing to say a person has a vendetta or is vengeful, and the second you do it to an animal, that's the kind of thing that you make.
Or you actually, feel. From the beginning, make it like a genetic experiment gone wrong.
No, there are tweaks you can make to where it works. But to say it's a regular shark, that this is just their normal mentality.
That makes the people want to go out and just kind of kill sharks.
Very fervently worried about what's going to happen next.
So I wonder if we have any great white sharks left.
All right. After that little fact, I don't even know if that's a fact. That was just like all around lots of information about sharks. Why we should not attack them everybody.
They are beautiful creatures, and they will generally just leave you alone.
I mean, but if you do attack them, they will probably attack you. That's my advice here. If you don't attack them, you're certainly in better shape than if you attack them.
Here's a good idea. Don't get in the water. Solved. Never have to worry about it.
Well, that's what Brody's plan was, and look how that worked out for him. He ended the movie by swimming back on a paddle boat.
He was forced into the water. The rest of these people do it by choice.
Or a recreation of a paddle boat by barrel.
I thought it was
planks.
great, man.
No, it was.
They fucking just took two of the barrels and a stick and kind of tied them together and just kind of kick.
I do love that. That's how the closing shot. Them like happily kicking towards the beach. Yeah,
if you watch the credits, you could watch.
No, I know them all get all the way up. I know
it's beach.
Good. It's so good. It's so good.
I don't stop the movie until they actually get on the beach. I'm like, all right, movie's over. They're safe.
On that note, though, if that's not the scene that takes you out of the movie, first off, have you thought of a name?
The drop point. What is the drop point of the movie where you're just like
it drops you out?
Yeah, you just drop out of it. Like what the fuck?
I don't know if that's definitely it. I like it.
I like it too.
We'll test the waters.
Comment section.
We'll test the waters.
Yeah.
I'm a dad. I'm allowed to throw the puns out from time to time.
This is officially a nautical podcast. We only do shit on the ocean.
But so what is your drop point?
Okay.
For this episode, since that's what we're going with.
When Hooper shows up, what kind of boat is he in? He is in a shitty little boat with an outboard, right? When he gets on the dock the very first time you see him.
And then we see him again.
And then later he has this huge fancy boat with all this fucking equipment. Where'd it come from? Did the Institute ship it to him? Because he didn't arrive on that fucking boat.
Maybe.
Did he keep it like anchored offshore and he had to take a dinghy in?
But if that's true, wouldn't the dinghy have even been better?
Yeah,
the dinghy that would be on that kind of boat.
I had a nicer John boat when I was a kid.
I don't know.
That was the only part where I was like, where'd this fucking boat come from?
I would have even been okay if we'd have seen somebody else driving the boat that he came up on. Because then it's just that he did what you said, he was out and he had to pay someone to come out and get him and bring him to shore. But since he drove the boat himself, it does leave a lot of questions.
Yeah, that was my only, where I was like, where's this fucking fancy ass research boat come from?
Well, and why didn't we ever see it again?
I was like, and where does it go?
I know that the whole point here was that Quint was like, we do it my way, and my way is I didn't even want anybody else to come with me, right? He didn't even want them to fucking go. Although I want to say, I kept thinking his little second mate was going to be with him.
Oh, yeah,
why was he not on the boat?
Little silent dude,
right? Were you surprised? He helped load the boat up. I
figured he'd be there the whole movie, just kind of never say anything, like his little mute minion.
Now that's not what took me out of the movie, but I just want, since you brought me close to it, so I was like, I'll go ahead and say this. The thing that took me out of the movie the most. And again, just like yours, it's not like it's one of those like really little things, but for some reason,
it just sticks with you,
and that's what we want from you guys.
The whole point of this segment.
You comment to us, no matter how dumb it is.
How dumb it is. What was the thing that you're just like?
And so,
what the hell?
Both of us have some real like mine's not any better than both. Like it's not like a. God, damn it!
Oh shit! It's a whole fit.
I felt it coming, dude. I was like, man, come on.
Been fighting it for 10 minutes already.
Yeah, I was like, please, let's just finish the episode. There we go, though. I think I'm good. Yeah, the thing that took me out was literally just... Okay, so, yours is so simple. It's just where the dumb boat come from. Mine is the first... When we see Hooper... it takes the whole movie. He's mentioned this fucking shark cage to us 7 times before he finally gets in it.
Yeah, there's a whole scene where it falls.
I can't believe we have to see them assemble it, which was super crazy.
They had to shove a montage in.
It was literally like
the only montage in the movie.
IKEA furniture time.
Yeah, it just kind of slots together.
But the thing that took me out the most was he's in the tank, or he's down in the water. He's playing with his little rod. The shark swims up the first time. Did you notice he put his arms where he's like through 2 bars?
Oh yeah, he's like holding it on the outside.
And so he's like trapped himself.
Yeah, you could never like...
You wouldn't do that. The reason it's a long rod is so that way you can safely do it inside the cage. But not even just that. If you notice, they purposely make Dreyfuss stay on the bottom part to where his head is below the thing made for your arms to go out, the wide open space.
The only gap.
You literally see what happens then is what you see is he is holding it through bars, which means he's trapped himself. And right above, they literally leave it in scene. You can see the part where his arms should be out. And it's like, what are we doing? Why are we doing this?
Never noticed that, but his arms are on the outside of the cage.
Just dumb it's so bad that as soon as
shittedly holding it at an angle, like that's not useful.
As soon as I said it, you were just like, "You're fucking right." Because it's
no wonder you dropped it, you dumbass.
Because why would you?
Because
do
he
that?
was supposed to die, so he's really stupid.
Yeah,
but then they couldn't get it to work.
Think about it. Like, if you're on the outside and the shark comes at you and you don't think about it, you're gonna like rip back and the shark gets your arm because they clearly
filmed that bit before the
they
little
made
guy
the decision to keep him
had
alive.
His problem.
Yeah, before they kept him alive. Oh, but yeah, that was the one. I don't know why, but
that's a good one.
As soon as I seen it, I was like, "That's not what you would do."
That's a good one.
This guy who's supposed to know. Well, I guess he was supposed to only be book smart, so maybe Quint would say
no, he has like the attacks from the scars,
but at the same time,
he's never fought a
college
boy, college city boy, which is soft hands.
Oh, but yeah. Well, again, guys, on that, this is our new format. That was fun. That's how we end that part. Again, the main part. We got a wrap up to do, but that was the episode.
The bulk part of the episode.
Right now, we're just doing some cleanup and getting us ready for the next one.
Because you gotta know what we're doing next time.
Because again, that is one of those things we learned. You didn't care for the mystery that we did when we first started.
That got hard to do too. So
it did. It got hard to try to like do it in a way to get people to actually guess. Right? I don't know.
I like this way better.
It's way better. Well, now because people can watch it beforehand if they want to. We might have comments day of because they might have watched it before we got there. You know,
everybody's seen this movie too.
Well, even then, though, if they didn't know until we got there, maybe it wasn't fresh enough in their head to say something. You
got like 5 days to watch. Oh no, they won't know that.
No, don't. No. When they hear this, if they're listening on day one, they have 5 days till the anniversary.
Yeah.
So
hurry up.
Watch it again for the anniversary. Then listen again,
and listen to us again. Give us those 2 views.
Make it a full Jaws-a-thon with us. Not everything else. Us with us.
Yeah, throw us in there. Listen to this. Go listen to the first one, then listen to us, then go watch the second one. Just keep going.
Because we're gonna go there next.
Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe, kinda, got to.
I mean,
Roy Scheider's still there.
I was gonna say, does this beer show up in the second one?
I doubt it. Quint's gone. Quint was a drinker of the Narragansett, right?
True.
Come on, you got to remember our characters here.
There's got to be something with shark.
Roy Scheider shows back up though.
Mm-hmm.
Dreyfuss is Dreyfuss in too?
No,
okay.
I don't think they could get him back.
But yeah,
he did. He did Close Encounters.
Well, you know why they got Roy Scheider, right? They got Roy Scheider for the second one because when they got him for this one, at first the Paramount or Universal, whatever company it was at the time, now it's all kind of lumped together.
Yeah.
They didn't even like Scheider for the part. They were like, I don't want that guy. Then Spielberg got him to sign on for a 3-movie deal, and so they were like, well, fuck it, all right. And so of the 3 movies, it was this. Jaws 2 was the end. And so when he did that, that's why he didn't come. He was like, fuck him, thank God.
Yeah, thank God I don't have to do this again.
Have you ever seen the movie Sorcerer?
No.
It's a 1977. I want you, when we're done,
is it
look that up.
Like epic fantasy movie?
It's something, and I want you to look it up.
No, that makes it great. I'm so excited. I love it when people make weird descriptions like that. I'm telling you right
now that as soon as I said the title of the movie, maybe even before, when people knew what I was getting at when I said he did a 3-movie deal, there were people at home already popping off because they love that movie.
Yay.
And because it's a bad, like they love it because it's bad. It's one of those type of movies. So that might be further on our list. We might be looking for something magical to do.
I'm
some
excited.
Roy Scheider.
Surely we can find some sorcerer beer.
Yeah. So he was back for the second one. I don't know if everybody else is. We were going off on a tangent. I was just gonna say the beer was good. How did we?
I don't know.
I don't know.
We're all over the place. But the beer, well, we're a few.
Well, you know,
we're a few in at this point.
Well,
and the beer is really good.
It is, and you guys know how we like to do. Usually, when we're doing a company that's a little bit bigger, we're not really like, we love you and we want to pop off for you, and it was good and it gave us a good time. But at the same time, we don't feel the obligation. We don't feel the obligation on like we do on the small beers.
You don't need my little.
You don't need my
shout
tasting
out.
notes. You've had 45, 50. You've had at least 50 years of tasting notes being described by people.
Easily more than that.
Yeah.
It has to be.
So you don't need us for that. People, all we're here to do is remind people it exists. Go try it. If you thought it was only for the movie, you were wrong.
Next anniversary, give me the fucking...
Give us the tab.
The old can.
On that, though, Bo, what are we going to do next time?
Next time we're doing Three Floyd's Brewing's Turbo Reaper IPA. We're going to be watching Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Because you know us. We can never do things in order.
And death is honestly the best thing about that whole fucking movie. He is a great character. He's the greatest.
All right.
You have sunk my battleship.
Save that. We'll have plenty of time for that next week.
It's a little tease.
On that note, though, Bo, anything you want to hit us with before we leave?
I'll end us with a little song. Farewell and adieu to your dear Spanish lady. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain.